After that big incident at the party, Dustin finally returned to East Swinton Hospital. When he entered the ward, he noticed that Florence and James had already arrived. Which evil bastard beat up my daughter to such a state? How could they be so cruel? Exactly. If I find out which bastard did this, I'll tear them into pieces. Seeing the injured Dahlia, the Nicholsons couldn't help but curse, feeling pity for her. Why are you here? We didn't even contact you. Suddenly, one of them noticed Dustin, who was standing at the door. I came to check on Dahlia's injury. Dustin walked into the room slowly, his face not showing a hint of expression. Get out! You're not welcome here. James roared, letting out his pent-up anger. Dustin! Tell us the truth. Does my daughter's injury have anything to do with you? Florence glared at him. I don't have the details about how she was injured. Perhaps you should ask Julie this question instead. Dustin replied. Julie? Speaking of which, where is she? Didn't she attend the party with my sister? Why isn't she here? James frowned. Could it be that Julie is injured too? Dustin! What exactly is going on here? Who hurt my daughter? And where is Julie? Florence's expression immediately turned dark. I think it would be best if you didn't find out. Dustin shook his head. If you have something to say, then say it. No matter who hurt my sister, I will make them pay. James said furiously. That's right. We won't let them off easily. Florence exclaimed. The person who injured Dahlia is Tina Hummer, Dustin answered truthfully. Tina Hummer? Who's that? James had no clue. The daughter of the richest man in Swinton, Edwin Hummer. Dustin replied. What? Sir Hummer's daughter? Everyone was stunned by this piece of information. They exchanged glances, not knowing how to reply. Especially Florence and James, whose anger immediately disappeared. They would have been yelling for revenge if it had been an ordinary person. Yet, when they heard the name Hummer, they didn't even dare to get angry. We had no grudges against the Hummer family. How could Ms. Hummer be so cruel to us? Florence gulped. That's right. My sister was invited to the party. How did she cross Ms. Hummer? James frowned, deep in thought. The others were uneasy as well. The Hummer family was someone they would never dare to provoke. Even if they were wrongly accused, they couldn't do anything about it. You won't have to do anything. In 3 days, I'll let Tina Hummer apologize to you all in person. Dustin assured easily. Hey! Do you even know what you're saying? Do you know who Ms. Hummer is? Do you think that's something you can handle? You'll let her apologize? Look at yourself. James said, unimpressed. Exactly. Do you have no idea who you are? You just know how to brag all day long. If you really had that ability, why would you let them hurt my daughter in the first place? Florence exclaimed. It was obvious that they did not take Dustin's words seriously. After all, it was Edwin's daughter. A true billionaire. Even they were afraid of provoking them, let alone a nobody like Dustin. You all must be the patient's relatives. At that moment, a nurse walked into the room. We just received a notice that the patient shall be transferred to a VIP ward and receive better treatment. All of this will be free of charge. Will you guys accept this offer? Free of charge? Of course, of course. We most definitely accept. Florence's eyes sparkled as she nodded fervently. That's great, please follow me. After a signal from the doctor, a few others came into the ward to help Dahlia into the new ward. Dustin stood still as he watched the people leave the room. It was his order to switch to a VIP ward. Although he was not afraid of Edwin, it was still inevitable that he would seek revenge. This was his safety measure. A few moments after Florence and the others left the room, Julie sprinted into the ward. Aunt Florence. I have big news. I just saw before she could finish her sentence, she was stunned. Her eyes widened as her gaze landed on Dustin. You! Why are you here? You're just in time. I have something to ask. Dustin approached her slowly. Don't corn any closer. What are you trying to do? I'm warning you, slay back. Julie retreated 2 steps. Backward in fear. She could still vividly picture the Sear Erler where Tina was brutally beaten up. In her eyes, Dustin was a maniac. Why are you so afraid? Could it be that you're guilty of something? Dustin said lightly. You're the one who should be guilty. I don't have anything to hide. What's there for me to be afraid of? Julie declared, putting up a front. Good. Then let me ask you, were you the one who framed Dahlia for stealing at tonight's party? Dustin's demeanor turned cold. Nonsense. We're cousins, how could I harm her? I'm warning you, don't accuse someone innocent. Julie's expression contorted into a panic. Accuse someone innocent? Dustin laughed coldly. Then tell me, how did this end up in Dahlia's bag? Who else would have access to her bag other than you? He tossed a box in front of her with a pair of ruby earrings inside. How would I know? It's not me. Julie's eyes flashed with panic as she desperately clung to her lie. You better think clearly before you answer. Otherwise, you'd lose your chance. Dustin said expressionlessly. What do you mean? Are you saying that you'll lay a finger on me? Julie shouted sternly. You have 1 minute left. Dustin lifted a finger. What on earth are you trying to do? I'm not afraid of you. Julie said as she backed away slowly. 10 seconds left. Dustin! I'm warning you. Before Julie could finish her threat, footsteps could be heard outside the room. Boss! I already got the information that Dahlia is in this ward. Good! You, keep a lookout. The others. Follow me. After an exchange of words, a few assassins dressed in black immediately swarmed the room. Who is Dahlia Nicholson? The leader scanned the room with a piercing gaze. She is. Dustin pointed his finger at Julie. The next second, with a sharp clang, 2 swords were pressed against Julie's neck. Bring her!